So welcome back. In the last tutorial we finished off the wheel, and here you can see the wheel now, what I ended up doing. So what we're going to do is start on the next part, which happens to be the chassis. So I'm going to go up to New up here. I can either go File, New, or just click New up here. And I'm going to make sure it's a part. And down here for the name, I'm just going to put Chassis. Okay, remember it has to only be, there can't be any spaces or anything in here, so I'm keeping it simple, but you can name it whatever you want, but I'm calling it chassis. So, once I've done that, I have my new, my new interface here. I'm going to maximize it so I get all the different menu items up at the top and I can see what they are. And I'm going to simply start off, click the top view, click Extrude, and I'm going to make the chassis right away. So center rectangle is what I would choose. Don't use any of the other ones. Okay, and basically make myself a little rectangle. Doesn't matter what size. Click on select, and now I can just scroll in to see what size it is. And I'm going to change the width of it to be exactly 3. And I'm going to change the length of the chassis to be 4.75. The reason these numbers are there is if you translate 4.75 into centimeters, it's just under 13 centimeters. And remember, you need to have your Sumo 13 centimeters by 13 centimeters by 13 centimeters, right? So same thing, 3 inches up here, converted, add 2 wheels, 1 on each side, you'll get just under 13 centimeters. So I'll click on OK. I'll add some thickness to it, and again, I can just drag this up and down. I can double click here, or I can just simply add the number up here. So I'm going to add up here and just go 0.125. Oops, I didn't do that right actually. So 0.125, and there's my thickness, and I'll go OK. Now, actually, just before I check the check mark, you realize that you're going to be laser engraving this, so the thickness really doesn't matter. This is only basically there for aesthetics and kind of getting an idea of, the thickness of the plastic you're using will be 0.125. So I'll click on OK. And away we go. So there's my basic base. I got to add some holes now. So one of the things I have to add is going to be some screw holes to hold the gearbox in place. So what I'm going to do is just click on it, make sure it's dark green, go extrude, and I'll put the gearbox holes in now. So I'll hit sketch view so it's in 2D. And I'm just going to grab a circle, center circle. I'm going to put it anywhere at the moment, doesn't really matter. And click OK. Hit select. Now I'm going to zoom in, and I'm going to take the numbers. I'm going to change that number there. I know that the screw hole is going to be 0.1. So I'm just going to put it as 0.1. And then what I want to do is here, the center, okay, I know that the distance, because I've measured it out, the distance is actually 2.3 across. So I'm going to take this and divide that in half and go 1.15. Okay, so that's kind of my part way, or my first dimension, because what I'm going to do eventually is mirror this over. And I know that instead of going from the center up, I'm going to go from the back down and put a measurement. So to do that, you come up to normal, you click on it. These are dimensions. So this is called a normal dimension. And I click on the top, I click on the center, and then with my center mouse scroll button, I click. And that gives me my number. And I'm going to leave that at about 1. Okay. And then I can just drag this. If you want to move these dimensions because they're in a bad spot, go to select, and basically I can just drag this and put it where I want it. So I'm just going to put it on the inside like that. Okay, so there's my first screw hole. Now I'm going to teach you how to mirror something in 2D. So what you do is first you need a center line to say I want to mirror it across something. So I'm going to grab the center line. I'm going to snap onto here. Actually, I'm just going to hold the center button down. I'm sorry. I'm going to snap onto here. And there's my center line in place. Then what I'm going to do is go select. I'm going to highlight that, my hole. And up here, right there is the mirror tool. So I click mirror. And if you read down the bottom, it actually tells you what's going on at the bottom here. So it says, whoops, get rid of Windows Explorer. It says select a center line. So I pick the center line. And as soon as I do, it automatically moves the thing. Okay. Now I'm just going to move that centered. So now I have the radius of this one, and that one's identical. What's cool is, if I now change this to, I don't know, 0.3, you can see they both change automatically, right? So I'm going to put that back to 0.1. So there's my first set of holes. Okay, and that's now for the gearbox. I'm going to click OK, and from there you can see on the angle, I'm going to simply go to through, I'm going to reverse the direction, remove the material, and I've got my holes now. And click on OK. Okay, so next I'm going to add 2 holes at the back to hold the body eventually in place. So once again, click on the chassis, go extrude, go to 2D because it makes it easier for me. I'm going to zoom in a tiny bit. Okay, and actually before I go any further, over here, I'm going to rename these. So that there is the base of the chassis. Okay, this one here right now, that was the gear box holes. Okay, and this extrude will eventually become the, actually can I change it right now? No, I can't change it yet till it's done. Okay, so now I'm going to put 2 screw holes up in the corners for the actual, what do I want to call these things? The actual holes to screw to hold the chassis down, or sorry, the body down. So center hole, grab these, go like this, and I'm just putting it anywhere at the moment, and I'm going to hit select, and I'm going to take some dimensions here, and again you can see how it's dimensioned to the center here and down. I'm going to change it to the edges, and I'll explain why in a second. So select normal, click here, and click here, and I'm going to change that to 0.2. And then again, I'm going to click here, click there, and put 0.2. And now I have a distance from the edges that, you know, is 0.2 by 0.2 is symmetrical. And basically what's going to happen and why you do this is that if you change the width of your base, well, these things stay in the exact same position, right? They're not going off the center line, they're going off the outside edges, so they'll never move from there. And here, this number, I believe, was 0.2 as well. Okay, so I got those all in place, and once that's done, I'm going to put this one over to here. I'm actually going to mirror it. So once again, a center line, and I come down like this, go to select, highlight the 2, and I'm simply going to go to mirror right here, and I'm just waiting for it to show up, mirror, and I mirror it to there, and there it goes. And I hit OK, and once again, you know you can change these at any time, right? So we can always go back and change numbers. So this again is the wrong direction, so I'm going to come here, go through, reverse it, remove the material. Okay, so that's my first set of holes. I'm going to hit OK. Okay, now I'm going to go back and actually just edit this. So I'm going to go back to here, and it's going to call this one screw holes. Screw holes. So I'm going to go back and edit now because I can do this all in one thing. Selection, right mouse click, go edit definition. Okay, I'm going to go back to 2D, and yeah, those holes are too big. So I'm just going to change them and go, I want to be 0.15. Okay, so there they are. And now I'm going to go to the bottom here, and I'm going to add another set of screw holes. Remember I talked in class, if I put one in the center, the edges here tend to curl up, so we want to put 2 screws on kind of on the front as well. So once again, I'm going to do it a little differently this time. So I'm just going to go screw, put it there. Actually, no, I'm not. You notice how that R matched the radius up above, and then I'm just going to put a dimension in, so normal dimension, and I'm going to say from this edge to that edge should be 0.2. Oh, you can see it already. I wasn't paying attention. It actually matched up that number there to the number up there, right? So what this error says basically is, well, do you really want to change it from 0.2 because it's already 0.2? I'm going to say no, so I'm just going to go undo it and say, okay, it's already there, but I am going to change the number that goes from here to there. Okay, and I want that one to be 0.5. Okay, so now there's that screw hole there. I'm going to hit select, I'm going to highlight it, I'm going to hit mirror, and I'm going to go across that center line, and I'm going to put it on the other side. So I now have 4 screw holes, and click on OK, and I'm done. Okay, so that basically is the chassis at the moment, you know, and I can round edges and stuff. I can leave it square, right? Well, let's round an edge actually. So I'm going to take this and say, okay, I don't want my project to be square on the edges, so I'm going to take this edge right here. Okay, and you can see how I've highlighted. I'm going to zoom into that a bit more. So I'm going to select a surface, but now I'm going to select just the edge of something. So there's my edge, and up here I'm going to go round. Okay, and I can round that. Okay, and I take that round. What happens if I go 0.25? Okay, there's my 0.25. Now, if I take this at the same time, hold the control key down, I can go grab another edge, and there's that one. I'm going to zoom out. I'm going to rotate this around, zoom in, hold the control key down. There's that one, and hold the control key down, and there's that one. Now I have my base done. Okay, I've got all the edges rounded. I select OK, and once again, I can go and edit this at any time, change it, and maybe in the next section of the tutorial I might have to come back and change this. But there you go. There's basically what you need. You got your 2 screw holes that are there for your gearbox, and you have your 4 holes that will eventually screw onto your base, or sorry, your body onto your chassis. So that concludes this part of this tutorial, and we'll go on to assembling a gearbox and the wheels in the next one.